Hello folks, today we are back in the shed, and I'm going to be making a zombie bluegill lure. I'm going to start off by cutting the basic template out on the bandsaw, and then bringing it over to the belt sander, just so I can have as clean a base as I can start with. Then I will cut this potato in half, saw the bait in half, giving me 2 halves of a bait. Then, after realizing I cut the bait in half too early in the process, I got some Elmer's glue just to temporarily stick them back together. I get the purple flavor, but you can get whatever kind you like. Now I'm going to start cutting the corners down just so the bait's a little more round and plump, just the way I like them. That way I can just sand it down, make it a little more round, and then it'll actually swim through the water rather than just be a big chunk of whatever doing whatever. And then this is the part where I'm actually sanding it, not just thinking about it. Just knocking off the rough edges, not looking to make it super smooth just yet. Just get the general shape down. We can get it nice and smooth later, but for now I need a higher grit sandpaper just to actually take some material off, make some progress. Then this is the part where I actually sand it smooth. I brought this down to about 400 grit, not super fine, but enough to smooth out a lot of the rough sanding marks. Then I begin carving out some details. First I just sketch everything out just to know where I'm tracing my knife. And then I poke down into the wood cutting the fibers so that I can come in at an angle and cut some material away, making that gill have a little lift to it, a little more detail. That way I'm not just slicing it and praying that the paint will make it pop. Now those 2 squares I drew on the body weren't so I can practice drawing squares. I'm going to make those little flesh wounds because what is a smooth zombie? Not a zombie. So these squares are going to be the torn flesh patches where I can add some ribs in the middle one later on, and then the back one will just look like a flesh wound. Take my Dremel and I just take some material out of the middle, make it a little bit of a deficit, and then crunch the edges up a little bit so it looks a little torn. It feels very wrong to do on something like this, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Then I thought to myself, why don't I just drill a giant hole in the side of this thing? That would make it look really good. I am just kidding. I put some eye sockets in there. I made one bigger than the other because we always know one is always bigger than the other. Then I looked at the face of this thing and I thought it should be more ugly. So I did the same thing I did on the body, and I took my Dremel and took out a little bit of material to make a little bit of a flesh wound. Granted, it's gonna look very ugly until I put some paint on it, but I like a challenge. Then to add to the butterface theme that I got going on here, I took some material out of the forehead so I can have a little exposed brain. Then I'll make a brain later on and put it in there so I don't just have a giant hole in the forehead. And a little glamour shot here to show you guys I actually know what I'm doing and I'm not just making giant holes in the side of this for no reason at all. Now I'm going to start cutting out a tail. I have this little black plastic stuff that I'm cutting out on my bandsaw. Now this process got a little sketchy because I was putting my fingers way closer to the blade than I would like to, but like Vincent van Gogh, I will sacrifice my body for art. Now I'm going to set the tail in the bait with a little bit of UV resin. I like this stuff because I can just set it in, flash cure it, and then it is done. It is no longer going anywhere. Now a little knife flip, so that I can have myself a little afternoon stack of a little cheese stick. I'm kidding, this is 2-part epoxy putty that I'm going to use to make some of the extra details I was talking about, like the ribs and the brain. I got this stuff because normal modeling clay you have to bake, and if I bake this lure it might cause some issues with the wood, so I went ahead and got this stuff so then I can just go ahead and stick it on and it'll cure on its own. After kneading that together for what felt like an eternity, I can actually start making the details. Took a little piece off and rolled that out into a little rib. I'm gonna pinch that off and place it onto the bait. Press it into that cavity I made in the middle earlier so I can have some ribs. Paint those separately from the rest of the wound just so it can have its own color and not just blend into everything. I went ahead and made a little ball of the epoxy and placed it on the inside of that cavity I made. Used the edge of a file to roll along some brain. Now this thing doesn't have a smooth brain, it doesn't have public speakerphone conversations, so I made sure to add the detail just so you know it is nice and smart. Then, to make this work as a fishing lure and not just a chunk of wood in the water, I added some weight in the bottom to counteract the buoyancy of the wood, so then when it's in the water it'll actually do something rather than just go in a straight line. Don't mind me, I'm only using a DeWalt because I don't remember where I put my Makita battery. And after spending way more time than I'd like to admit balancing it, I got it to just barely float, but after a little bit of paint and some clear coats, it should be nice and level and not come back up. Now I'm going to turn this thing into a ghost. Got to give it a white base coat just so the other colors can actually stand out, because if we put it straight on the wood, it's going to look all murky and dull. On the back, I'm going with a nice poopy green color. If I went with straight neon green, it looked really off, but if I went with too dull of a color, it also wouldn't look right. So this color actually works pretty darn well. Keeping it off the tail, just because I don't want the tail to be the same color as the body. And then below the poopy green, I added more of a gray poopy green just to blend down the body a little bit, give it some vertical color change. Then I added some copper-ish, olive-ish, some kind of color going on in the middle there. Same kind of concept. Then I also put some yellow on the belly. Same exact concept, that vertical color change. Continuing with painting the belly, I got some really light blue. I didn't want to just drown out all of the white, but I wanted to tint it blue. It is a bluegill after all. Some of it is going on the gill to make it a bluegill, but you understand the point. And now for bars. I wasn't going to show you this secret technique, but I have to share. I took the edge of a piece of sandpaper just because I had a lot of uneven jaggedness to it, which I liked. So I just flipped it back and forth, inside, outside, just so I can fill in the middle and have some nice bars going along the body. Now I hit the bite mark on the tail with a bit of orange, just to give it a little bit of pop to it. Rest of it's still white because I want to be able to fade that out, but I need a nice bright color. Now I'll go over the tail with a really brownish green. If you keep it real light, it's green, but if you start to add some on, it turns brown. I think it works perfectly in this application. Now time for clear coat number 1. Gotta go with multiple clear coats just to give those layers of paint some depth. Gotta separate them a little bit. Then you can see when I put the clear coat on, all that paint just looks so much better. I don't even know how that works, but everything just looks better with a clear coat on it. And now we go on to scales. Got some mesh clamped up around the body of it, pressed nice and tight. Got my thumb in the way just so I don't paint the gills, but I did some gold on the top on both halves, and then towards the bottom of it I did some almost black scales just so it looks nice, you know what I mean? It just looks good. Now we start working on the wombs. I painted over them on purpose because I was just gonna paint white over it and then paint some red. I didn't want to like mask it off and have like perfect lines, because if it's too perfect it doesn't look right. So I think letting the white make it stand back out and then painting over it worked super well. I did some red, and then I took a little bit of purple and just added a few lines in there. It gives the wound a lot of depth and lets it stand out and not just look like a red splotch. And now since it has 2 separate eyes, I'm just going to go ahead and glue the first one in. I just used one of those Amazon eyes with some UV resin just to set it in there. And then for the other side, I went ahead and painted one. I wanted this to look like a dead eyeball, like it should have fallen out. But I didn't just have one of those, so I went ahead and painted one up. I think I did a pretty good job on it, looking nice and creepy. Went ahead and set that one in, and now we're on clear coat number 2 just to finish everything up. Once that's done, the bait will be ready to assemble and ready to go fishing with. There it is, in all of its glory and beautiful detail put together. Phenomenal looking bait, I will say. I outdid myself. And I know what you're thinking, that's just the best lure you've ever seen in your life, but it also works so good, so choppy side to side, just do. And then while I was at this lake, I did have a huge bass swipe at it, but he did not commit to it, which is unfortunate. But anyways, that is the build. I hope you liked it. If you did, go ahead and click the little thumbs up guy and scrubber side, and then I will see you later.